Hi, my name is Ashley Orton, and there's been something going around on Facebook. It's this article about this woman who witnessed a girl going into a abortion clinic, and she was 20 weeks pregnant with twins. And it's really, really heartbreaking. And a lot of people have been reposting it, and one of my friends posted it, and someone he knew made a comment on it talking about how he's doesn't think that late-term abortions should be done willy-nilly, but that he cited some adoption statistics and talking about how crime increases or decreases once they open an abortion clinic. Like 20 years later, they'll see a drop in crime. And first of all, I think that's a really difficult study to prove that is solely based on the opening of an abortion clinic. I would like to look into that study. But he cited... he posted a website, it was a government website, talking about the statistics of adoption. And when people do that, I get really upset because 4 years ago I got pregnant, and I initially was going to place for adoption, and I immediately began to look into it. And the rate at the time was about 40 couples wanting one baby. And when it's just really hard. The issue with statistics and why there's different statistics out there is they kind of lump everything together in terms of like foster care, older kids, and infants. And so that's why you get like this it's so hard for these children to find homes. It is harder for kids who are older, who are put in the system later, who maybe were raised by parents who weren't prepared to take care of them, or abusive parents, or those types of things, and then they come out of it later and they have these emotional issues. And those children it is very difficult to find homes for them, and that is really tragic. But the issue that was being talked about in the article, talking about with this girl who had this late-term abortion with twins, it said that she didn't want them because she knew that they were girls, the twins that she was carrying, and she already had girls, and she didn't want any other girls, and it didn't have anything to do with like a foster care situation. And it's hard to get the statistics because a lot of adoptions at birth are private, but if you look at the statistics, I looked it up, it's about 36 couples wanting one baby. And I admit that there's flaws in the system. White babies are a lot more desirable than mixed babies, and my son is mixed. He's half Mexican, and that was really upsetting to me. But that doesn't mean that nobody wanted him. There was a lot of people who wanted him, and I just wanted to kind of clear that up because I think that there's some big myths about it. And going from my experience, I know that they're not true. That they say, oh, these kids won't be able to find homes. Yes, they will. Infertility problems have like been on the increase in the U.S. like crazy. And so there's all these loving homes waiting for these babies, and these other people are just throwing them away. For me, I thought about this a lot when I was in high school, actually. I was like, what would I do? Would I be brave enough to carry a baby so that everybody could see? And I can say that for me, there was an allure to abortion because no one else would have to know. And it was something I thought about a lot when I was younger. But when I was pregnant, I thought about it for maybe half a second, and then I knew I could never do that, and I could never live with that. And I think there's a lot of women who are living with that, and I feel for those women because that is got to be horrible. Anyways, I digress. I know I've been all over the place with this, but I just want to say that that's not true. That there are lots of people who want babies. There lots of loving people, loving couples who want babies. So first of all, that is myth number one, and it bothers me when people put the wrong statistic, the foster statistic, with that. See what else I want to say. Also, this is just kind of a side note, because I feel like I have to it's easy for people not to give me credibility. You don't know me or whatever, but I'm type 1 diabetic, so it's not like pregnancy was an easy thing for me. Thankfully, I didn't get sick a lot, but the risks, I'm automatically in the high risk category for pregnancy. The last month of pregnancy, I was going to the doctor 3 times a week. My last trimester, actually, it wasn't just the last month. And there was a lot of concerns about the baby being healthy and me being healthy, and so I worked really hard, really hard, to make sure that my baby had the best chance ever. I have just books full of notes of everything I ate. I weighed all of my food, because there's a certain percentage of food's weight that is carbs, and if you know that, like 20% of the weight of an apple is carbs. So if you weigh it, you can deduce, you can find out mathematically exactly how many carbs are in that apple. And so I did all of that, and so I have it listed out how much, insulin I was giving, how many carbs, what time I ate, what it was. I just, these meticulous, crazy notes. Because progesterone makes you more insulin resistant, and so you're constantly having to adjust and kind of play catch up the whole pregnancy. And thankfully, I think in large part due to my really hard work, I gave birth to a perfectly healthy baby boy, and I was able to do it drug-free. I was induced. They wanted to induce me early, but I did it without any pain meds, and I had the help of a doula, and my family was there, and I just want people to know that the majority of people, like, I don't know, there's just all these myths, that they're all teenagers. That's not true. The majority of abortions in America are women 30 and over, because they just don't want a baby. And it's a huge percentage. I need to look up exactly what it is, but it's a huge percentage of women over 30 having abortions. It's not these teenagers that are going around having these abortions all the time. And I don't know, if you want if you want to learn more, there's a woman, you can look her up on Facebook, who is an abortion survivor. I'll find out her name. I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but she gives a speech to the Australian Congress about it, and it's really incredible and really moving. She has cerebral palsy due to the fact the lack of oxygen to her brain, and the chemical, due in direct effect to the abortion. And my thing about that is, I know that some people have abortions due to children having special needs. I work with a child who has special needs, and I get the privilege to be around other kids with special needs. And he has cerebral palsy, and it's pretty severe in the fact that it really inhibits his, he can't speak a lot of words. It affects him physically, but mentally he's all there. And quoting what this woman said who has cerebral palsy is that, there are things that you can only learn from the weakest in your society. And I can tell you from experience that is true, because Adam is one of just probably the most amazing person that I know. He's 7 years old, and communicates through smiles or pursed lips, basically, and he brings so much joy and happiness to people, and he loves his life, and I think to make that decision to end a child's life in utero because of the potential problems that they may have, I think it's really sad for for the child, obviously. But I don't think people realize what a disservice they're doing themselves and society in general by ending those their lives. Because I have learned so much by taking care of Adam for the past 2 years. Anyways, I'm gonna try and put out another video. Maybe that's more concise than this, but I just kind of needed to get it out of my system. So if you've watched through all of this, thank you, and have a nice day.